too, actually. Hey, everybody, here we are. Took us a little extra second with some background issues and things like that. But anyway, before we get started, please, if you haven't yet, reach over, reach down, go over to YouTube, whatever it takes, and hit that subscribe button for us because we would love to hit 100 subscribers, you know,
in our
sometime
lifetime.
Right? Because I'm gonna make it just a little bit, more whatever, and
tighter.
say a little tighter and say sometime by the end of the second quarter of 2024.
Ooh,
so 3 months.
Okay.
So if you love us, share us. Anyway, John, hello as always.
Hello.
And then we're so excited to welcome Melanie back. We had a really great conversation last week about AI and what you can do with it and why you shouldn't be afraid of it. Even had a couple of conversations with AI itself to ask it if we should be afraid of it. And naturally it said no, because what else would it say?
That's what you'd expect.
Terrified of me.
Right? I mean, you really tell it you're going to give it a timeout or something. So
yeah, I love the nap thing. The nap thing.
I say go take a nap and I'll pay you $100 when you come back.
That is literally my favorite comment of AI ever.
Anyway, so I really thought it was time again for us to kind of just talk about, the things that we've been wondering about. And the main reason for that is I had a really interesting thing happen today, or not today, this week. And I was in a yoga class, and I'm, believe it or not, the youngster in this class, which I find hilarious.
Awesome.
I know, right? It is. And
cool.
It's a Zoom class, so I'm at home, and, but one of the people in the class said that when she was younger, I want to make sure, I'm not going to say the person's name. I would never do that. So I think I can just tell the story without really compromising any of my ethics, right? My confidentiality stuff. But basically the gist of it was that she was getting married and her fiance's father was kind of a difficult person. And they weren't really looking forward to him being at the wedding. And so she basically said, well, what are we going to do about your father? And the wedding. And then 2 months before the wedding, the father passed away. And right away, her mind goes to, and you can probably guess
where you're going with this.
Right away, her mind goes to, I didn't mean he should, pass on.
Mm-hmm.
So when she said that, immediately it occurred to me that when it comes to something like that, where it's detrimental or like, let's say, a negative outcome, we imagine we have so much power. Right. But when it comes to creating or putting the word out there or teaching or putting ourselves out there, we feel powerless. So do you see where I'm going with that? Like, does it make, what do you think?
Yep.
Like,
that's a paradox, right?
Right?
We think we have power where we do, and we think we don't have power where we actually do. Did I say it the right way? We don't have power.
We think we have power where we don't. And we think we don't have power where we actually do, right? Like, nobody has that much power.
I love that. Wow. What a great insight. Yeah, that's really profound.
And it really hit me like a ton of bricks when she said it. I was like, oh my gosh. Because, we all say that. Oh, I put the words out there. I this, I that. How much power? And I do believe in the power of words. I believe in the value of words. I am the grammar police. I believe in all of that, right?
Yep.
But I don't believe we have that kind of power to impact, especially the end of another person's life, just by simply wondering, but how big of an attachment mechanism is guilt that even to this day,
oh my gosh,
40 whatever years later, she still feels guilty that he passed away before the wedding and feels like she had some kind of
what she really needs
some
to
kind
do
of role in it.
She needs to get a psychic or a mediumship reading and actually talk to him say, hey, and he will tell her, no, it was my time to go.
Right. I don't know that she goes that far though. So, I mean, we do, those of us that walk in these circles.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of my go-to
would
now.
Easily,
like, did you get a mediumship reading?
Yeah, right. Would easily go for that, but maybe she's not comfortable with that.
True. Yep.
I've often wondered because I'll think something and it will happen. And I'm like, did I manifest it or am I psychic? And
which came
immediately first? Right. And immediately I was like, oh my God, I manifested it. And if it's bad, that's a bad thing and blah, blah, blah. And like you said, Angie, no, I don't have that much power to manifest. An example, this is kind of when I started getting tuned in and all of that to what was going on. I was at my daughter's soccer game and I just got the thought that a kid was going to break their leg and an ambulance or a vehicle was going to drive onto the soccer field and blah, 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 blah. Sure enough, it happened exactly that way. And I was like, oh no, I manifested that. Like I created that. I thought it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I don't have that much power, but I am that psychic.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
and a lot of times we're like, no, I'm not that psychic. I don't have that kind of ability, but we give ourselves power. Like you said, Angie, like,
yeah,
we don't
I think
have
on
that
that
power,
question,
but I am that psychic.
I think on that question specifically, where you or we are a lot more psychic than we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
Just really funny things. Maybe I told this last week. I was in the grocery store and all of a sudden this previous client popped in my head. And then a minute later, I turned the corner and there he was.
Right. Yeah.
How interesting. But here's a really interesting question. Can we manifest bad things? I don't think so. You can manifest.
That's really an interesting. I mean, because technically speaking, right, the answer should be if you can manifest good things, you can manifest bad things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is, if you look at manifesting, which manifesting is deciding what you want and then adjusting your physical vibration to match it. So if you want to manifest an open door, you need to decide you want to open the door, get up, and take the action to open the door. Now you've manifested an open door. So technically speaking, can you manifest bad things? Yes. Can you blindly manifest bad things? I don't think so. However, if you are a negative thinker, you could absolutely attract negative circumstances.
True. Yeah. The
right?
proverbial clumsy person, and the person who says nothing ever goes right for me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess those are technically bad things, but okay. Can you manifest bad things to someone else? That's actually spells though, isn't it? That's more.
No, I don't believe that either. I don't believe you can put a spell on someone. I don't believe you can put a curse on someone unless they accept the energy of it.
I was going to say they would have to agree to it on some level. And
right.
Yeah.
And again, usually the attachment mechanism for something like that is guilt. It's guilt or fear. Fear is a huge attachment mechanism. But I remember Lisa Williams telling a really powerful story. And I just every once in a while get really lucky and these people show up local here where I can go see them in like smaller venues.
I love that.
So
You're
Lisa,
so lucky.
I know, right? Lisa Williams was here and she told a story about how somebody that she knew put a curse on her. She was aware of the curse and things just kept happening, bad things, whatever. I don't remember the extent of bad, but bad things kept happening to her. And then finally, in a conversation with her grandmother, because her grandmother was a really powerful medium too. So in a channeled conversation with her grandmother, stop believing it.
I was just going to say.
And the minute she stopped believing in the power of that curse, done.
Angie, that's the best explanation of that you ever given. That's just really spot on. No, that's really spot on. I mean, you've said it kind of in passing before, but that example is really, really profound.
I love that. And a lot of people, when I tell that story, they're like, no, I'm not so sure. But see, I think this goes to the idea of you literally have the power to not believe in that curse. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
When spirits are coming into your room at night, if you have mediumship tendencies, spirits come into your room, or entities, like guides or whatever, come into your room, talk all at once, whatever they do, you literally have the power to say, you must go, and they must go. You have that power. That power is awesome and amazing power. And yet I don't mean you, but
Mm-hmm.
And yet people have trouble believing that, but they have no trouble believing they could cause somebody to pass away by wishing they weren't at their wedding. I mean, it's crazy, right?
No.
I had that happen to me the other night. Somebody woke me up and I just felt them and they were waking me up and I'm like, nope, I am too tired. I've got too much to do tomorrow. No, you're not bothering me tonight. Go, leave, go.
Suzanne Giesman is a medium I've taken a class from, and she has a story where when she was first becoming a medium, she said people would all talk. They would all come and all talk at once, and she's really organized. And she says, okay, wait a minute. Line up one at a time. And they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've told that story. It's guides, but it's the same thing. But I mean, there's not a spirit that's going to come in my surroundings unless I'm sitting in this chair where I am working. That's it. But
that's your signal.
Exactly. It is.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who I'm talking to, pretty much. But in the beginning, and oh my God, I can't tell you how much money I spent. Crystals, readings, sessions, energy work, trying to get my own energy under control to quiet all these voices down. And finally, I just said, you know what? I cannot understand you when you're all talking at once. I need you to speak one at a time. Just like that. Just like that. And that was when I realized exactly how powerful I am.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, how powerful we all are. Just got to believe it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we all, as a collective, as humans, feel so powerless. And honestly, I think we've been conditioned to feel powerless with
absolutely
thousands of years.
And who would you like to blame for that? Are we going to say that word?
Well, I feel like we can blame everyone. I feel like we can blame, I mean,
authority.
Who I blame.
You could generalize it with authority.
Right, authority. Right? Yeah, exactly.
Because you know who I think it is.
I know you do. But you're actually, Angie, you're right on that though, right? Because the longest running authority in the world has been religion.
Mm-hmm.
Sure has. And it governs through fear.
Yep.
Behave yourself or you're going to hell.
Yep.
Right.
It doesn't get any scarier than that, actually.
Well, not for me, but yes.
No, but
I'm not scared of it. This is hell to me.
No, I don't think that either. I don't think that either. I believe there is no such thing, right? That it's a human construct. That's
one of my favorite authors, Bartman is his last name. He has a funny way of saying it. He says something like, "So let me get this right. We're going to suffer for eternity because of about 30 years of bad choices."
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
He says, "Really? Is that how things work?"
Right.
But I mean, profound when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very much like that. It's very much like when I said, I don't really remember who it was I said it to. But I said, somebody preaching Christianity and how that works, which if you're Christian and it works for you, that's fabulous. But, that whole, well, if you're not this and you're not that and you haven't done this and y'all know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wait, you mean the Dalai Lama's going to hell?
Right.
Right. Right.
And they look at you like, basically, how dare you?
Right.
Yes.
Right?
I would get in arguments with my Baptist preacher dad when I was like 7 or 8, like a child. I would be like, wait. So he would say, we believe that if you don't believe this, you're going to hell. And I would be like, but what about the people who have never been taught this? What about the people in the jungles and stuff like that? And they've never even heard this. They're going to hell?
Too bad for them.
Yep.
No, he would say, well, that's why we have to go and be missionaries and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to talk to all people.
Yep.
Right. I'm not going to be able to talk to all people. And you're telling me Mother Teresa is going to go to hell? And he's like, well, she's Catholic. So yeah. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay,
even at the age of like 10, I was just like, I can't with you.
Yeah. So Baptist or Southern Baptist? Just curious.
Southern. Then Presbyterian, then non-denominational, then Reformed Presbyterian, and now back to Baptist.
What, them or you?
Them.
Well, me, because I was going to church with them as a child.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then I got married and converted to Catholicism.
Okay.
And then I realized
what a journey.
The error of my ways. Yeah.
I mean, I know people who are members of churches who live amazing and fulfilled and abundant lives.
And
right?
spiritual. Very, very
spiritual.
deeply connected to spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But very rarely are those people Catholic.
Right.
Well, they tend to get
Southern
pushed out to the
Baptist.
outer edges of the established religion anyway.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
the people I hang around with in religion are those people.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
yes.
and when you, so I'm going to give this like 3 more minutes and then we'll move on to one of your questions. But this is very interesting because I've had the occasion to work with a lot of different people, as an energy worker, and often people who are just beginning to have their abilities reawaken, so to speak.
Nice.
Have turned up for me. It's hard for me because generally when they're later in life, when I say later, they're not children. They had abilities as children. They've been gone for quite some time, and now they're coming back. And what I believe is they're reasserting themselves, those abilities. Mm-hmm. Generally, when the first question I ask is, what kind of religion was in your household as a child? And generally speaking, it's the ones that say, you can't possibly see ghosts. We don't talk to people who we can't see. We don't talk to, this is bad. This is sacrilege. This is, so it's literally been religioned out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I always say, that is just a tough nut to crack. It is
Very
really,
tough.
really, it's, it takes a lot of work on limiting beliefs and ancestral beliefs and inner child work because, very often those children are made to feel like there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Yep. I was taught I came out the womb bad. I was born a sinner. I need someone else saving me. I need, and that sticks with you. If you're like told from the moment you come online and you have consciousness that you're bad and you're, going to hell and everything you do is wrong. And my dad one time, this is how bad it was. I woke up, how sometimes you wake up and you're singing a song.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up singing a song. I don't know. It could have been the Beatles. And he was like, and I said, hey, Dad, I had this song when I woke up in my head and I can't get it out. And he's like, oh, well, that means the devil's taken over and you're not thinking about Jesus enough. And I'm like, what? Like, what is it? I'm bad. Something's wrong with me because I woke up singing.
This is permanent damage, my friend.
Right. And that's a lot to get over. And
how many thousands and thousands of
mid-40s.
others?
Right. Exactly.
It is. And so this conversation is not. And, John, we've talked about this in relation to other organizations and groups where there are things I really object to.
Yep.
When we talked about that year-long program that you were taking, and I was like, ooh, that feels a little like these other things to me. but it's
a little heavy-handed. Yeah.
Well, and some people really thrive with that, and I can understand that. But you see the power of a collective like that, and then it just seems to me like it's important, not necessarily that people stay away from it, but that there are other people such as myself who just question it enough to be able to bring a little bit of a different perspective.
Yep. Favorite bumper sticker is question everything.
Right. And not to say don't do it, but please do it with open eyes.
Right.
And don't foist it on your children. Who, I mean, we could go on for another 2 hours about,
the effects
what that looks
children,
like and what your parents can make you believe. So anyway, well, that was awesome. So who's got something else that they're wondering about? I knew it was, I always knew it was going to be John. He's got the best questions, doesn't he?
Huh?
You have the best questions.
Oh, well, thank you.
You absolutely.
Right, here's the one that's been mulling around in my mind for a while, and I've probably asked it before in a different way. But if our purpose here, so there's two ways to look at your purpose on Earth. One is you are here just to be. You are here to give and receive love. You don't have any other agenda than just to be and to love. The other way to look at why are we here is like you were sent here, you sent yourself here to learn something, to get it, to figure something out, to resolve something, to increase your, spiritual abilities and gain this nirvana, whatever you want to call it. And I see it both ways, right? Let me give you my favorite example of this topic. So there was a researcher done a number of years ago, that was given free rein to create a department in a large company, and he wanted to study it. And he created this department, and he gave it no mandate. He didn't tell them anything of what they were supposed to do. And he watched, and what happened is over the course of a couple months, they figured out what they were supposed to do, and they started doing it. And a few months later, they were asking for more resources to do what they had given themselves to do. That is humanity in a microcosm, right? Some people, we come here, we give ourselves something to do, and we get frustrated that we can't get it done. Not from the spiritual side, but from the whole, what humanity tends to do is we give ourselves tasks and then we get frustrated that we can't get them done. Back to the spiritual side, though. Are we here to give and receive love and that's it, and just be? Or are we here to grow in a spiritual direction?
Well, we all know what I think.
Yes, we do. I want to hear Melanie thinks, because Angie's going to get on is going to let us have it in a minute.
No, we know what I think, and I'll follow it up with a question.
All right, cool.
That will support.
I think we are all part of the divine, experiencing what it's like to be a human. We are an expression of the divine. Okay, what's it going to be like to go through these situations, and how are we going to handle them, and how are we going to love people through them, and how are we going to grow and love ourselves through it? And I mean, not only humans, I think dogs and trees and Mother Nature, everything. It's the divinity, the divine expressing itself through a dog, through a human, through a tree, through a flower. And I think that's really all that we are here to do, is be divine beings in this human vessel. And what would the divine do? Yell at their kid who's interrupting? Real life.
I mean,
perfectly timed.
I think that's right, that it's real life. I mean, that really pretty much goes with the way I feel about it, because I believe we're here to be individuals. I believe that we are all part of the divine. I like Radley Valentine's description that, when we are on the other side, we're all drops in a fountain.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we, go up through the fountain and come out, we separate and spend our time here. I don't believe there are huge lessons here, because I don't believe there's anybody up there that's saying, oh, well, we're going to send you here to this place to learn a lesson. But we're not going to tell you what the lesson is. And it's going to be really hard to figure it out. And not only that, but it's going to be really hard to learn. I just don't believe that. Now,
I think we're in here to experience.
I believe we're here to experience. And I actually feel like, I know a lot of people just are very unhappy here. A lot of people are unhappy being human. A lot of people struggle with being human. A lot of people, I just don't. I believe that I am an energetic being, a soul, if you will, here on earth to have a vacation. That's it. That's it. That's it.
75-year vacation. All right.
And remember that 75 years is a human construct, right? Like 75 years is nothing on the other side.
Yeah.
But also, everybody said, why are we here? Why am I here? What are we doing here? Why is here?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
the bigger question.
Now, it's interesting, John, because I actually shared the episode. There was another episode where we did kind of a stream of consciousness conversation.
Yep, I remember that.
And we were talking about something of this nature, about how people, if we choose the vessel that we're going to drop into, because on the other side we choose we want to experience this, or we want to experience love or abundance or lack or whatever those energies we want. There are definitely places on this planet that one could incarnate into that are not so pleasant.
Right.
Or even incarnating with a disease, right?
Right, exactly. Although I do believe that disease, mental illness is the result of some kind of vibrational mismatch. In other words, the vessel and the soul, something is just not quite right.
It's an IT issue.
It basically, right? Exactly.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
Exactly.
That's your next life, right?
Right.
Right? Like, I mean, and then if that doesn't work, unplug it and plug it back in, right? Like, discharge the static. But, like,
that explains everything.
Right? Right? But it occurs to me that, in my travels through the Akashic record world and working in the Akasha, soul origination, that conversation about soul origination comes forward. And there are a lot of earther people, I believe. I like this model that comes from Soul Realignment, which is Andrea Hess's program. And there are earther people. And then there's Mintakans and Polarians and Pleiadians and, all these other places. And I believe that those of us that are light workers, don't originate from Earth. And so I think that some of the people who actually incarnate into those places that are not so wonderful are Earthers. And Earthers are just on this loop of come here, do this, come here, do that, So I still believe they're reincarnated. And I think, have you ever heard Lisa say, Lisa's our astrologer. I hope it's your, this is what she said to me, actually. I sure hope it's your last time.
Yeah.
Your last time, or at least you're going to get a vacation next time.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the earther people, if that's who that really is meant for. If the actual earther people are the ones who come here once, they come here twice. I don't know, maybe I'm seeing the earth divided into like quadrants, like an orange, they come here to the northwest, and then they come here to the northeast, and then they incarnate down under, like, I just wonder if that's not.
Interesting.
It's an interesting. I mean, it's kind of an interesting.
Yeah.
Concept to think about.
You know, it's funny you mentioned. Every time things get kind of wonky and I get frustrated with things, I'm like, boy, I hope this is my last pass through this place.
I say it all the time. I'm not coming back, and if I do, I'm going to be a spoiled Frenchie.
Perfect.
You know,
I'm coming back.
I mean, I used to ask myself, what the hell was I Lucretia Borgia in a past life?
Yep.
Yeah.
I no longer feel that way.
No, you know, I think the further along I go, the more at peace I get with just life in general. Like, oh, well, this is interesting. Suzanne Giesman says, imagine, so you're watching TV and you're watching this show and you want to see how it ends and it's really exciting and it's a cliffhanger. Look at your life that way. Something comes up and you can say, hey, I wonder how this ends. And I'm like, that's helpful. I like that.
Yeah.
So we have a comment, and I love this name, Sunshine Toasty Grandma. So I bet she's in Florida. I don't know. I could be wrong. But she said, sometimes I think, why did I pick something so hard to come to? And no, I'm not scared of death. Which I think that's amazing. That's you're not
wonderful.
Scared of death,
yeah,
right? Like that is so freeing. That one right there.
I'm not scared of death at all.
But I Texas. Okay.
All right, that's toasty too.
that's definitely toasty too. I've got a kid in Texas who tells me all the time how toasty it is. Anyway, so I wonder. I think, why did I pick something so hard to come to? How much of that difficulty I know my life was considerably more difficult before I shifted the way I think. Before I got my energy under control. So how much of that, and I'm not throwing any shade, okay? So I want you to know that. But shifting an attitude or shifting to mindfulness make things easier?
Yes.
Personally speaking, that's exactly what happened to me. When I got on my kind of spiritual journey and I realized, oh, what if I had planned this? What would I have wanted myself to learn from it? And that perspective change made me go, I think I'm learning patience. I think I'm learning how to love when people don't love you back. Okay, I'll go with that.
See, I love that. And for me, it was, I come by that statement where I say, if you walk in somewhere loaded for bear, you're going to find a bear. I come by that honestly, because I walked around looking for bears all the time.
Yeah,
I did. I truly did. I mean, there are places, like, as a matter of fact, we have a little issue going on with an optical place. And my husband, I said, we're going to just have to go in there now because they're not responding via email or corporate. And he's like, I'll go with you. Because he knows, and what he will do is he will put his hand on my back when I'm talking, and it grounds me.
Oh, good choice.
In a way that keeps me, a little bit more
even keel,
tolerable, keel, right? Because I can really get myself into trouble. I don't know if you can imagine that, but
it's like those Westerns where, the bar is noisy and the door swings open and a guy walks in and it goes dead silent. I'm envisioning that happening with you at the optical place, Angie.
It happens. It does happen. I know it doesn't happen anymore so much, but it used to. And things used to always rub me the wrong way, right? Like, I can't stand it when somebody calls me sweetie. Oh my goodness. Or
Miss. I don't like Miss Melanie.
Yeah, what is that?
In the South, it's a thing of respect, but it drives me insane.
Yeah, it's I'm over the ma'am thing. I find that okay, that's cool. But I also like, if I go to, let's say, a fast food restaurant, and when I pay and they give me my change, I say thank you. I don't find no problem to be the appropriate response. The appropriate response is you're welcome or my pleasure. Of course, it's not a problem. You're standing back there getting paid. It shouldn't be a problem.
Interesting.
Anyway,
And
okay, so
I think that's exactly what it is. Once you connect to higher consciousness and you're not looking for the bad, you're looking for the good. I think that's what makes it easier. My family and I went through absolute hell the past 5 years, and I was like, there's going to be good coming out of it. There's going to be good. I just know there is. And eventually there was. And because of, I believe that my daughters and I agreed to come here and take care of this and do this. And because of my daughters and what they did, laws were changed in Virginia that is going to have a massive impact on future women and future girls.
Wow.
Right.
So it's like, but I didn't, going through all the horrible, horrible, horrible things that we went through. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was going to be the outcome. And I didn't get the outcome. And I didn't get that until about a year after it was finished. And I was like, there it is. But the only thing that kind of kept me grounded and kept me sane through it all, because people are always like, how are you not like completely insane? And I'm like, well, some would argue that I am, but I just focused on there's going to be something good coming out of it. Stay centered, stay grounded, come from love for everything. And I was always telling my daughters that something good will come from it. And eventually we saw it, and just, you have to keep that connection to the divine and just know it will.
And go to what John said. It also taught you patience.
Yes, which
right?
I need. Yeah. I think that's
I want to just quickly respond to Deborah. She's right. She says, does not mean that we like the challenges or we don't resist a bit or a lot, or maybe have a tantrum in the process. I'm known to have a temper tantrum now and then, but I will say this, and anybody that has any kind of energy awareness at all, I find it interesting that I know many, many people who are attuned to Reiki that don't use it for themselves, which, okay. Balanced energy is resilient energy, and resilient energy is less reactive, period.
Yeah.
So when I began balancing my own energy and keeping my own energy in balance, I stopped setting off railroad, what do you call those
crossing
things?
Signals.
Yeah, railroad crossings. I stopped putting out street lights. I stopped walking past cars and turning on sirens. I got my own energy under control. So there is something to be said for that inner work that brings those things. And how can that happen? It can happen by trying to operate from love, right? Love is a great balancer.
Yep. It's a mindfulness.
It's a great equalizer. Yeah. So, well, that was cool. All right. So we have still a little time. So what about you, Melanie?
Oh my God. My week has been just like so insane with my kids. I haven't really even had anything like profound or anything happen to me. Is
there any topic though that you've often said, I wonder what that's about?
Well,
there must be something, because you're working with a lot of new stuff, and you're working a lot with AI, and I actually saw the news, and I did not see the piece. I think it was on Good Morning America. Who was it? Is Steve Jobs still alive?
No.
Okay, so who's the Microsoft guy, the CEO of Microsoft? And it's not Bill, but whoever the Microsoft guy is, the Microsoft guy,
I think is his name,
and someone else. I'm very bad. If I'm going to reference something, I
probably
really should
Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI.
No, I don't think it was him, but it might have been. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, the way they referenced it was the conversation they were going to have was saying that people really need to start embracing AI because some time in the next 6 years, give or take, it's really going to have an impact on how we do our jobs. Not me, of course, because I'm retirement age, but other people. And honestly, I'm embracing AI in my own way anyway, using it very much to my own advantage. So I think that a lot of people heard that conversation. I'm hoping and understood. Do you see the question, Melanie?
How did you come to the connection of AI and neurodivergent creativity? Because I am. I am neurodivergent, but I'm also techie. And when AI came on, and before I get to that, my thing about AI and why I agree, Angie, we all need to kind of embrace it on some level, is it's like the internet was. When it first came out, everybody was scared of it. And oh my God, we're not going to mail letters anymore. What's this electronic mail? What is, we're going to have the paperless offices. Do you remember that? And that never happened. We still have paper. And everybody was scared of it. And it's like the people who survived it, I guess. Well, that's not the right word, but the people who succeeded through it are the ones who adapted to it, embraced it and adapted to it. And the businesses and the people who kind of fell behind and still are behind didn't. And it's like, why put yourself through that? Why struggle with an iPhone? Why be like, I'm not going to do this? Well, okay, cool. But now just about everything you have to read a restaurant menu on your phone. Just like my mom is like, I'm not going to do that. I want a real menu. And the place will be like, well, we don't have that. You have to adapt.
Right. And I would take that even a step further and say that the majority of people that succumb to the scammers are the ones that did not embrace technology.
Because and they don't educate themselves. I mean, that happens all the time. That happens with all of the people who are kind of scammed and trampled on and taken advantage of, is they don't educate themselves in whatever it is.
Because I'm here to tell you that if somebody told me that they were I don't know, that I owed them money for some reason, and then they wanted me to download a program that gives them access to my computer, I'd be like, yeah, okay, does your mother know you're a scammer? I literally said that to scammers before. I would never fall for that. But why? Because I see it in this world.
Yeah,
exactly.
For someone else, and the way they speak and are so forceful. I mean, I had a guy, this is years ago when I had my tax office, call for my daughter-in-law and say, this is Agent, hello, this is Liberty Tax Service, McHenry, this is Angie, how may I help you? And he said, this is Agent so-and-so from the IRS, which they don't say IRS. They say Internal Revenue Service.
Right.
I'm calling for Aaron, blah, blah. And I said, really, why? Well, she owes us $2,500, and if she doesn't pay us, we're going to send the police. I said, oh, really?
Good.
I said, did you happen to catch what I said when I answered the phone? and the guy was like, no. And I said, well, I'm here to tell you, I know that she doesn't owe you $2,500. And he said, yes, she does, and I'll send the police. I said, well, you can go ahead and send the police. But also, I'm here to tell you that you don't even know who I am, and the real Internal Revenue Service would never tell her business to a stranger. So, and the guy was like, it was kind of fun. Oh, the grandma, Sunshine Toasty Grandma is Angie too.
Hey, cool.
Same with AI. You don't have to be an expert in it, but you need to know what's going on. You need to know that people are cloning their faces and they can get your face and they can do things with it. You need to know that they can take your voice and do things with it. They're making songs. I don't know if anybody knows Randy Travis. He's an old country singer.
Yeah, I know who he
is. He had a stroke a couple of years ago, can't sing anymore. Just released a new song. How? And it sounds exactly like him. How?
Oh,
AI.
That's cool.
It's so cool.
Wow. What a cool idea.
They took tracks. They took samples of his voice and released a new song. So knowing that is possible, not from a place of fear, but from a place of, okay, this could happen. So let me just take measures to protect myself, knowing that that could happen, protect myself and my family. Okay, I have adult children, teen children. They could clone their voice, call me, mommy, I'm in trouble, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and it's an AI person and they're trying to get money out of me, right?
Right.
So I came up with, okay, cool. We're going to have a family code word, a family,
Perfect.
So and then that's it. Now I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I educated myself. I knew what was going on and I came up with a solution and now I don't have to have that fear in my life anymore. Going back to Deb's question. So I love AI. And when it first came out, I was just like drinking from a fire hose, all of the information. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this has so much potential. This is amazing. What can I do with my business? And my brain just went insane with all of the potential. And so I started reading, but it got to be incredibly overwhelming and difficult. My brain started going because I'm neurodivergent, and I kind of short circuited a little bit a couple of times, where it's like, so I was like, okay, I can't be the only one struggling like this. I know that, I think most people are neurodivergent. They just don't realize it, or a lot of people are and they don't realize it.
Truth.
They know the potential of AI. They see it, they hear about it, and they are like, okay, this could have some impact on my business. And they dip their toe in it, but they can't wrap their brain around it. And it doesn't click with their brain and taking it in and stuff like that. And they can't.
Right.
No
A
offense,
confused
John,
mind says no.
Right. Exactly. No offense to any techie people, but they kind of like don't talk in normal speak.
They don't speak English. Neither do astrologers, by the way. But
neither do astrologers, right?
But I will say with that, because I also am neurodivergent. Nobody ever called me that until
it's a new diagnosis.
It's a new thing. Probably one of the things that would have been nice to know when I was in school.
Yeah.
But I will say, based on A, what you're saying, B, my experience before I interacted with you and your program, and C, the experience I've had with it after your program. There are things that you showed to do in your in your course, the
branding course.
There are things that you showed to do that are just not obvious.
Right.
Like they're just not obvious. They're just not like make it, like when you said make another GPT. What does that mean?
Right.
So I went and looked it up and I figured it out, but I didn't know it was there or available to give, to give another GPT and a different voice, to give it a voice of a marketer or,
Yeah.
So
you can create a team.
Right. Exactly.
Marketer. Mindset. A strategist. That's what I have. I've got 4 or 5 different roles at my company.
Right.
Exactly. The type A personality that just yells at everybody.
And so back to the neurodivergent, I would have to venture a guess. We all three walk in at least some of the same circles. I don't know what the Venn diagram actually looks like with all of us, but there's a lot of overlap. I would bet that a very high percentage of the people that we interact with in those groups regularly are neurodivergent.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and the truth is, even if you're not, or you don't consider yourself neurodivergent, it's still great stuff. It's still, I still believe that it's still information that you're not going to come up with on your own.
And you don't have to be neurodivergent to use my stuff. It's just kind of
it's organized in a way that it's helpful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
So I'm trying to make it accessible, I guess, to everyone. And I feel like even marketing in general and business in general, it's like we see all these business experts and marketing experts who are, you got to do this, then you got to fit your business in this box. And it's like some people are like, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't vibe with me. I can't wrap my head around that. And that's the same type of thing, I love Virginia. I live here. It is so beautiful, and the mountains are magical. Angie. My backyard, I have woods in my backyard, and I swear I see them like move. Not when the wind is blowing, but like a painting in that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come. Do you remember her paintings? Did you see that movie? That's how
a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago. But that's how my woods back there, I swear they're like magical back there.
Sweet. Well, trees are magical.
They are.
And I will say also, I've only been on the coast of Virginia. Virginia Beach, to be exact. I love it.
Gross.
I love it. I love Virginia Beach so much.
I prefer the beaches of North Carolina.
It's fine.
Virginia Beach is too people-y for me.
Oh, I love it.
So over here, the beach of Lake Michigan is my go-to. If you ever get up this way, Melanie, you'll have to check out a freshwater lake that looks like the ocean.
You were telling me about it. Yeah. Like you see the horizon. Yeah.
Yep. It's amazing.
Don't worry, Deb. We're logging off shortly. So we've already gone over.
Yep.
Anyway,
we always
all know that I don't really care about the beach or the water. I don't swim with fish poop.
I don't either. I don't swim at all.
I don't like getting sand in my bits, my toes, whatever. So,
all the bits.
Yeah, I just like what I like. Anyway, yeah, I like my
I like going to the beach. I like smelling it. I love hearing the waves. I love the birds.
I like walking along the beach.
Of it. I love walking on the beach.
Yep.
But I don't get in the water because it's gross.
Yeah, no,
Lake Michigan's pretty clean, so maybe I've been just lucky.
That's good.
I think Lake Michigan, depending on where you are. Don't forget, I'm not far from Chicago.
True. Yeah, and there's
although really the biggest body of water we have here is called the Fox River. It is disgusting. It was a shallow river in the 70s, and we had this governor called Governor Ogilvy in the 70s. We thought it would be a good idea to dredge the bottom of the river so he could connect what they call the chain of lakes. So we have there's a chain of lakes, not Michigan, but up here from where we are, and it just totally destroyed the river because it stirred up all the silt, all the algae, and the dang thing has never recovered. When I saw my kids swimming in it, I thought, oh.
We have a lake
Go
here.
home and take a shower.
Yeah. We have a lake where I live, and I refuse to let my kids go in it because every single day during the summer or every week, it's like there's a new case of E. coli.
Right.
Like
either E. coli or red algae, one of the two.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's so gross. I'm like, no, we have a pool. Go to the pool. Mm-hmm. You don't need to go in the lake. Yep. It's gross. Fish poo there.
Okay. All right. That's enough. We've gone over far enough. Listen, this was really good. I like these kind of conversations.
I do too.
And please, if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, pop over. Not only hit the subscribe button, but hit the little bell so you'll get notified the next time we're.
And then hit the donate button. Oh darn! No donate button.
Oh. Yes. Well, it's maybe one of these days, right? Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. We are so happy to have you. Again, remember, if you have questions or anything you'd like to hear us talk about, or if you would like to be a guest on the show, reach out. You can message either. We're really easy to find on Facebook, or you can, post a comment in the YouTube videos, and we will see you next week.